Hello, children. Welcome to another session of English. Today, also, we will do with the book First Flight and we will do the third chapter. In the third chapter, there are two stories. The first part, that is his first flight, we will do with it today. But before I start, let me tell you a story. There was a man called Daedalus. He was a very big inventor, you can say the Thomas Edison of his time. Once something happened that he angered the king. And the king became so angry that he imprisoned Daedalus along with his son Icarus on the top of a hill. And for a long time they were imprisoned. Then one day Daedalus thought that this cannot be the life. They have to come out. And so what he did, he planned to make two pairs of wings. And he did it. He made the wings with the feathers of seagull along with wax. The wings were prepared. The day came when both the son and the father would fly. Before flying, the father warned the son, Icarus, not to go too high close to the sun that it might melt the wax, and not to go very close to the sea so that the wax may get dampened. It should be of middle height. Their flight should be of middle height. Fine. The day came. They flew. They were free after a long time. Icarus was very excited to become free after such a long imprisonment, and in this excitement, he forgot his father's advice. And what he did, he went very close to the sun. And the thing happened that the wax melted and he got drowned. Father got very sorry, very sad. He built a temple in the name of his son in the island of Sicily. He came back and built a temple. Anyway, now the thing is that why did I tell the story? The thing is that, children, I wanted to show you the relation between the father and the son, between the parents and the children, the concern of the parents about their children. Father warned, father advised, but out of excitement, the son did not listen, rather, he forgot. It happens like that. Let us read the chapter, then slowly you will, at the end of the chapter, you will better understand the relation between the story and the chapter. The young seagull was alone on his ledge. His two brothers and his sister had already flown away the day before. Who is this he? He is a small seagull in this chapter, and he is our hero or protagonist of the story. He is the hero of the story. The whole story is concerned about this seagull. He had been afraid to fly with them. Somehow, when he had taken a little run forward to the brink of the ledge and attempted to flap his wings, he became afraid. See that his two brothers and sisters, they have already flown away, but he couldn't. He was just standing at the brink of the ledge and attempted to flap his wings. He was afraid. He was afraid to fly like his brothers and sisters. He was flapping at the brink of the ledge. Brink means the end. After that, the slope starts. After that, if he takes one step, then he will be in the air. Down sea, above sky, and he will be in the air. He cannot gather courage to dive into the air, which his brothers and sisters have already done. The great expanse of sea stretched down beneath, and it was such a long way down, miles down. When he looks into down, he sees the sea, the vast stretch sea down, and which is far, far away from him. So he felt afraid. He felt certain that his wings would never support him. He felt certain, he was sure that his wings will never support him to fly in the air. That means lack of confidence. He could not gather confidence to fly in the air. So he bent his head and ran away back to the little hole under the ledge where he slept at night. He could not fly, and he came back to his hole where he was in the previous day. Even when each of his brothers and his little sister, whose wings were far shorter than his own, ran to the brink, flapped their wings, and flew away, he failed. Now his younger brother, sister, their wings are also shorter, but they are successful. They have attempted, they tried, and they were successful, and now they are flying freely in the air. But he couldn't. He failed to muster up courage to take that plunge which appeared to him so desperate. To muster up courage, muster up means to gather. Muster. Notice the spelling. It's not master. Muster. To muster up. That means to gather up the courage. He could not gather up the courage and could not be so desperate to fly in the air. His father and mother had come around, calling to him shrilly, upbraiding him, threatening to let him starve on his ledge unless he flew away. But for the life of him, he could not move. Now parents are scolding. Parents expect that he would fly in the air, but he could not. They are shrilly, they are crying, they are shouting at him. They were upbraiding him, they were scolding him, they were threatening him to come out and to fly. Otherwise, he would have to starve, because if he cannot fly, then how will he manage his own food, gather his own food? But he could not. He was very afraid, but for the life of him, he could not move. He was scared that he would not be able to fly and he will fall and he will die. That was 24 hours ago, one day before it happened. Since then, nobody had come near him. One day before, all were there with him. Now they have all left and nobody was there in front of with him. The day before, all day long, he had watched his parents flying about with his brothers and sister, perfecting them in the art of flight, teaching them how to skim the waves and how to dive for fish. Brothers and sisters already have flown away. Now, parents, what did they do? They taught them, they trained them, they taught them different tricks of flying. So, what the parents normally do, even for you also, when you are in trouble, who teach you? Your parents. The first step that you took when you trod, who supported you? Who helped you? Your parents. So the parents, it is a responsibility of the parents to teach the small children or their kids when they start doing something, to train them how to do that. Even the seagull's parents also did so. Father, mother, they taught the small other kids who started already flying, his brothers and sisters, they are insisting him also to do, but he could not. He had in fact seen his older brother catch his first herring and devour it. He has seen his brother already trained to fly, already trained to catch fish. He had already caught a herring, a prey, and devouring it, that is eating hungrily, relishing it, and standing on a rock while his parents circled around, raising a proud cackle. And they supported him. They were very proud of him. They applauded him in their own way that he had done it. He was successful. And all the morning, the whole family had walked about on the big plateau midway down the opposite cliff, taunting him with his cowardice. And what did they do? The whole day now, today, all are flying. His brother, sister, father, mother, all were flying, and they have enjoyed a happy moment. On the opposite side of the cliff where he was standing, there was a plateau, and they rested over there. They flown over there, and they enjoyed there happily, the whole family, except this seagull. And they taunted him. They made fun of him because of his cowardice, and they tried to motivate him, but they also failed, and he also failed to take that step to fly. The sun was now ascending the sky, blazing on his ledge that faced the south. He felt the heat because he had not eaten since the previous nightfall. Since the previous nightfall, nobody has given him food. He himself could not arrange his own food, and nobody has supported him also with his food. So he could not eat anything. He felt the heat because he had not eaten since the previous nightfall. He stepped slowly out of the brink of the ledge, and standing on one leg with the other leg hidden, as you know, the birds they do, under his wing, he closed one eye, then the other, and pretended to be falling asleep. He pretended that he was tired out of hunger and he was falling asleep. Actually, he was trying to draw attention of his parents, of his brothers and sisters, that so that if they would come and provide him some food out of love, out of affection, out of compassion, they would provide him food. Still, they took no notice of him. They did not pay any attention to him. Probably they have seen it, but they did not pay any attention, and they did not take any initiative to provide the food to him. He saw his two brothers and his sister lying on the plateau, dozing with their heads sunk into their necks. His father was preening the feathers on his white back. Everybody was busy in their own way, own work. Brothers and sisters, they were flying, having food, then sleeping, dozing. Father was busy in arranging his, maintaining his feathers. All were absorbed in their own way of work. But nobody had time to pay attention towards him. Only his mother was looking at him. Mother is mother. Mother cannot avoid like that. She was standing on a little high hump on the plateau, her white breast thrust forward. Now and again she tore up at a piece of fish that lay at her feet and then scraped each side of her beak on the rock. As you know, they sharpen their beak. So the mother was having a fish down her feet, and she was sharpening her beak to have the food. She only noticed the seagull. The sight of the food maddened him. How he loved to tear food that way, scraping his beak now and again to wet it. Now he felt very hungry, and he felt very greedy to have that. That fish tempted him to have it. But his mother was busy eating her own. She did not provide the food to him. Ga, 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 he cried, begging her to bring him some food. Gao kola, she screamed back derisively, but he kept calling plaintively. And after a minute or so, he uttered a joyful scream. Now, mother was there. Mother also answered him back, but she did not. She was there only, but she kept calling plaintively. And after a minute or so, he uttered a joyful scream. Why? Why a joyful scream? Because his mother had picked up a piece of fish and was flying across to him with it. Now, definitely mother would come and help. So when the mother picked up the piece of fish, he knew that mother cannot reject him. Mother would definitely come and help him with the food. So he was very excited that finally someone came at his help and he would have the food. He leaned out eagerly. He was standing on the ledge, so he was leaning out just only to jump and have the food, tapping the rock with his feet, very excited that finally I have got the food. trying to get nearer to her as she flew across. And the mother also came very close to the ledge, almost closest to his beak, so that the bird can jump and get the food. But when she was just opposite to him, she halted. She stopped, her wings motionless. She was not flying. The piece of fish in her beak almost within the reach of his beak. Almost it has reached to the beak of the seagull. He waited a moment in surprise that definitely mother would come and provide the food, wondering why she did not come nearer. And then, maddened by hunger, he dived at the fish. Finally, desperately, he dived at the fish. Mother did not provide the fish to his to his beak. Mother did not provide it. Came very close, but waited, motionless in the air. And he got maddened out of hunger. Hunger, hunger means it is difficult to resist the hunger. So what he did, he out of hunger, out of desperation, jumped, dived to get the fish. With a loud scream, he fell outwards and downwards into the space. Suddenly he realized that he is in the space. He was not standing on the ledge. He has left the ledge. He could hear, then a monstrous terror seized him and his heart stood still. Finally, he realized suddenly that he is in the air. He is no more on the ledge. He is gliding in the air. He could hear nothing, but it only lasted a minute. But it was not for a long. It only lasted. The next moment, he felt his wings spread outwards automatically, picking up the flight. The wings spread outwards. The wind rushed against his breast feathers, then under his stomach and against his wings. He could feel the tips of his wings cutting through the air. He was not falling headlong now. He thought that he would fall headlong. Headlong means straight into the sea. But suddenly he realized no, he was not falling. He was rather flying. He was rather gliding. He was rather comfortable in the air. He was not falling. He was soaring gradually downwards and outwards. He was no longer afraid. He just felt a bit dizzy. Then he flapped his wings once and he soared upwards. Ga, 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 kola. His mother swooped past him, her wings making a loud noise. He answered her with another scream. Mother also replied, that is, appreciating that finally, my child, you have done it. You have now mastered the courage and you have won over the fear of flying, and now you have become successful. Mother appreciated him. He saw his two brothers and his sister flying around him, curveting and banking and soaring and diving. Then he completely forgot that he had not always been able to fly and commended himself to dive and soar and curve, shrieking shrilly. Now he has forgotten that once a time was there when he could not fly. It happens with us children also. We fail to do something. It takes time for us to muster the courage. And then once we can do that, when we get back the confidence, and once we become successful, we forget, and rather we start thinking that how it was possible, rather how it was impossible for me not to do this work. Why? What had stopped me? Stopped in confidence. That is, lack of confidence stops us from doing, or rather to become successful in any work. So we have to we have to come out from this lack of confidence, and we have to gather confidence to move forward. Seagull also succeeded. He was near the sea now, flying straight over it, facing straight out over the ocean. He saw a vast green sea beneath him, with little ridges moving over it, and he turned his beak sidewise and cawed amusedly. He himself was very happy to fly in the air. His parents and his brothers and sister had landed on his green flooring ahead of him. They were beckoning to him, they were calling him, calling shrilly. He dropped his legs to stand on the green sea. His legs sank into it. He screamed with fright. Again, another new thing, another new attempt. He landed on the water. He thought that he will sink down, get deep into the water. But suddenly he realized that his legs sank into it. He screamed with fright and attempted to rise again, flapping his wings. But he was tired and weak with hunger, and he could not rise. Now, this time he felt exhausted by the strange exercise. His feet sank into the green sea, and then his belly touched it, and he sank no further. Then he realized, he thought that he is tired. He will not be able to now float on the water. He will sink deep into the water. Suddenly he realized that no, again he was successful. Again he felt that he was not sinking into the green sea, and then his belly touched it and he sank no further. He was floating on it, and around him his family was screaming, praising him, and their beaks were offering him scraps of dogfish as reward, as prize. They offered him dogfish. He had made his first flight. So children, first flight is always difficult. If you learn how to win over it, you can do it. Let me explain. What was there, children? The father tried to warn the son. It's a very common story. You all know. You might have read in your junior classes also. But the thing is that repeatedly this is to remember, because we forget sometimes that when parents do something for us, we think that they are very harsh, they are very rude. My friend's mom, my friend's dad, they are very good. They do not scold. My parents scold. But for everyone, the motive or the goal is the same. That is, all the parents wish success for their children. Maybe the training process is different, but the ultimate motive is, the ultimate wish or desire is the success for their children. So children, if sometimes it comes to your mind that parents are not in favor, their sayings are not in favor of us, don't give a rethought to it. Rethink that what is the intention, why they are stopping us, what is the reason behind it. The reason is that let you succeed. For your success, how you can do better in your life, that is their motive. Sometimes they scold you, sometimes they love you, sometimes they praise you, sometimes they reward you, sometimes they stop you from doing many things which you feel that maybe for the time being you feel that parents are not good, they are not supporting us. It's not right, children. Give a second thought. Here also the seagull thought that the mother would give. Mother could give. Everybody, even the father also could give the food to the child, to the small seagull. Why didn't he give him? Because he taught him how to learn to fly. That day, if he would provide the food to him, probably the seagull would never learn. Pampering might sometimes spoil. So sometimes this structure is needed for us. Our parents teach us how to do, what to do, how perfectly we can do the work in our life. So that is the main theme of the story, children, that this is the first flight, how the seagull learned to fly. So two things we have to learn. One is that to gather courage, confidence to do anything first time is difficult. But nothing is difficult if we have the confidence within him. So we have to muster up courage to win over the confidence and to take the first step. And second thing is that what our parents do for us is always for our good only. Keeping this in our mind, we will move forward in our future forever. So finally, we have come to the end of this chapter. Now you have to do question number 1, 2, 3, 4 from page number 36. In your assignment copy, you will keep the answers ready. Thank you, children.